you got triggered. You allowed yourself. It's a choice, even though people do crazy things and you have the right to react, you can choose how you react. So it's like the fact that you unconsciously just reacted like that based off of something they did, that means that something inside of you has to heal, because otherwise it wouldn't have triggered you like that.
All right, y'all. Welcome to Real Shit, the interview series where we drop in, we go deep, we get real, we shoot the shit on things all about spiritual development, self-help, talking about evolution of humanity and our species, and trying to present really new ideas to the platform, to the people, because this is a time when there's so many different belief systems and ideas and voices fighting to be heard and fighting to be right. And I think now more than ever is when we really need new ideas to really help to unify humanity and to bring some clarity to a species and to a history that's been confused for a really long time. So we're not here to make anyone believe anything. We're here to present from our own personal experiences how we've come to clarity within ourselves. And with that, I want to introduce Sunrise the Divine. And I've seen this guy on Instagram. He's just really, in my opinion, I see him as a young spiritual leader. I think it's really beautiful that he's, how old are you, by the way?
25.
25. Yeah, so I think
the body is 25.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think now more than ever we need like fresh voices, young perspectives, because what we carry as people is timeless. What we carry as humanity is timeless, and over the years, the more we're in this world, the more we lose touch with that. So this is why I appreciate you, and this is why I want to give you a spotlight, because I think you're bringing something really fresh to the table, and helping kind of to unmask all the different constructs that we can build on and get jaded with, and lose touch with the clarity and the pure presence of the timeless self. So I know you're on a spiritual journey, and you really bring a lot of wisdom from that place, trying to kind of sort things out and help people to kind of remember what's inside beyond the ideas of who you've been taught to be by the society that we're in. So if you want to just speak a little about yourself and why you're here in this world, and
Okay. Thank you, family. I appreciate you. So my name is Sunrise the Divine. Sunrise the Divine. That is what I go by. Some people just call me Sunrise or Rise. And man, that was a great opener. That was really amazing. I appreciate that. But yes, so I'm originally from the East Coast, West Virginia, Ohio, and right now I am based in Los Angeles. I'm an artist and a healer. I make music, create music. I practice massage therapy. I teach a class called touchy. It's a martial art form that I created. And yeah, like I said, I'm based in LA right now. And, a part of my purpose, my purpose actually right now is just to use a lot of my gifts and my artwork and my passions to, and then, help and evolve society. Like you said, fresh ideas and things. So since I've been out in LA, I've really been on a deeper journey through myself, learning who exactly I am, what exactly I want, and I've had the pleasure of evolving a little bit throughout my time here in LA. It's really like shifted my perception and just my perspective on the world. And so now I've infused like my passions, what I want to do, with the desire to help change the world. My whole life, like my whole intent is to affect the world or be involved in the evolution of community in some way, shape, or form, And so I'm currently doing that. Creating music, spreading messages of love and light. So that's just my intent. That's my purpose. That's my reason of existing right now, to just create, manifest what I see in my head, create, and make sure everything I create is on a higher frequency than before, to help anchor in that type of energy here,
Amen.
on planet Earth.
Word. Thank you, brother. Thank you for that.
Yes.
Because
And to connect, like this, like building, connecting with you. Like, this is my first time meeting you, Adonai, right? And,
Adionai.
huh?
Adionai.
Adonai. See, that sound like you can open a portal with that name. Like, that's but yeah, to like connect like this, connect and build with you, and like build with a lot of family. I think this is what the new world involves, like getting to know each other,
Beautiful, bro. Pleasure to get to know you, man. Yeah. Um, so I want to touch on a couple things. So you said you're here to help evolve the world and bring in this like higher frequency of what you want to create, what you see in your head.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious, what, just to get right into it, I guess, and then we can get a little more personal, but like what is that shift that you see that the world needs, that you have to offer? Like, what are you seeing in the world right now that needs to change, and where do you think we're going, and how do you think we get there?
See, the thing is, this is why some people, some people in my family where I'm from, this is why they call me crazy. But I'm kind of like already there. Like, what I see, not me personally, but what I see in the world is the changes that's needed, but I see it as if they're already changed. So let me just say you how I see the world. Like, right now, I feel like we're on a massive awakening right now, right? And with that awakening right now, it comes all the things with awakening, like, the processes of people's mind state when their reality is crumbling upon them, and then a new reality is introduced to them. We're going through all that process right now. But what I see is like planet Earth straight harmonious. We can eliminate the debt, the paying to live. We can eliminate the paying for food unless you own your own service and people choose to like pay. But like, as far as like, we got all this land, we can plant all this food. So I'm seeing like nobody hungry, everybody got space, everybody has shelter that wants shelter. And that's just bare minimum. That's not even like nothing to even clap about. That's like just basic standards, I'm seeing people utilizing their brains, more of their brains. I'm seeing people really not letting the petty shit divide us,
Yeah.
because it's all like petty shit that's dividing us. But I'm seeing people utilizing more of their brains, communicating more, and creating more from a place of unconditional love. Like, people always say, like, they create out of their pain. Like, when people are hurting, they make the best music or something. You know what I mean? And it's true. When people hurt, they do create a great form of art. But just imagine what form of art you can create when you're creating from a place of love. If you can create something so fantastic out of like pain or something, like, we can create and invent and come up with new inventions out of a place with love and comfortability. And that way the creations will be even on a higher frequency. Like, you know what I mean? And so I'm seeing that. That's what I believe the world needs.
Yeah.
But that's what I see it has. Like, I'm see everybody in my reality is starting to then fall into those standards, like my close circles, my friends. So it's like, I see the world like it needs it as a whole, and I see where we're at, but I'm already seeing as it's like, it's here, it's right now. Like, we here, we're like we're beyond, there's no turning back. That's what I'm trying to say. There's no turning back. We're already heavily anchored into this new world, in my point of view,
Right. That's so beautiful, and that's so dope, and that's so key. It's like, that's really profound how you're stressing that it's already here. You're already seeing it, you're already living it. Because a lot of people would debate the shit out of you for saying all that.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, they will probably be right too. We're like,
Right.
we're on two different, it's like this Zoom right now, there's two boxes. We're like on two different channels just with reality.
Right.
In their world, shit could be going to hell, and that's all they see. And they'll be like, no, the world is getting worse. Da, 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 da. That could be their truth. That's their truth.
Were you once in that place too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. But I still kind of like reflecting back, this shit was like me becoming aware of this. I can tell it was like meant since birth, because ever since I was growing up, growing through this whole system, there's always been something deep down that was just like a huge question mark. But I was in that same space, and I did experience those same feelings and same point of views that people who do express
Yeah.
that. I have experienced that.
Let's
Yes.
talk about that journey for you, like from like how did you, from this place of like having a big question mark and having the world give you a bunch of answers that probably didn't feel right for you, how did you make that shift to like break out of that box and start to see the world in a way of like abundance and potential rather than limitation and lack? And like how was that journey for you? Like,
Okay, so
into the darkness a little bit and see how we can get out of there, you know?
right. So for me, I was always kind of really strong-willed and kind of rebellious. Not in the sense of like I would cause trouble, but like to authority. I didn't like authority. Even as a kid, I didn't like authority figures. So even if I would get like punished for things or something, or in trouble, or even like whoopings or anything, my will would still kind of be like, I still got my point of view. You know what I mean? And so, not like I said, I would comply and stuff, and I wasn't like bad or anything, but I've always had that kind of rebel spirit that didn't comply. Like even if I had to comply, I would probably, if I disagreed in my mind, I would probably just keep it in my mind. But for the most part, I'm speaking it out. You know, the only time I would not speak out against something that didn't sit right with me is like when I would get in trouble. Like, you know, parents, they see that as disrespectful, you know, especially when you're like a little boy and they see you as like their seed. But I'm thinking like, wait a minute, that don't make sense. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so I would speak out against that. But the thing really is just like social conditioning. I was a part of wherever I was, the environment I was around. I was viewing the same things on TV, believing, having to believe what was told to me by like my elders and stuff, and um, just a part of the environment, right? So the environment already has a large part to do about the world you perceive,
Absolutely.
and so that,
Everything. The way
yeah,
people teach us to see things is the way we come to see things. And then
mm-hmm,
we think that that's what reality is because other people see it that way.
right. So for the most part, um, I felt kind of like a sore thumb, like I stuck out like a sore thumb throughout my whole life, because I would always like be thinking differently, you know, I would be thinking differently and having questions that didn't get answered, but still be thinking about them, you know. So, but essentially, you know, you conform to your environment. I don't want to say I completely conformed, but I did. But as I got older, I just had to get these answers. You know what I mean? I just had to follow my will. As I got older, I still had that like thing with not really liking authority. And that really transformed into not really liking when people told me I couldn't do something. Like if I believed I could do it, I'm like, I can do it. You can't tell me I can't. You know what I mean? Like if I have a dream or a goal, I can hit it, you know? And no amount of doubt or like uh pedestal is going to stop that. And so as I got older, that really, you know, and I got freedom, you know, I graduated high school, I'm like grown now, I'm like I can do what I want, you know. And I had a dream and I moved out to LA, and I'll say it's like 50% you, for my point of, for what shifted me from like more dark to light was like 50% me taking that step to just leave that environment and change my environment and chase my dreams. And then the other 50% is the environment, because it definitely did change. Like you meet more people that's what grows. That's what makes it grow. That's what makes it spread. It's like a virus, but positive. Like I came out to LA, I started meeting more people with mindsets like me, you know, and thinking like how I'm thinking. And so that's then like reinforcing my confidence and reinforcing my frequency. And when all of that stuff changes, you like unlock more of that, you know, it's like laws of attraction. And so like, I don't want to shit on where I'm from, but it's not as, the society isn't as open-minded as, you know, it's more of a society where they kind of conform to each other. They kind of all, it's kind of like mob mentality. Not saying that there aren't any open-minded people, but it's just as a whole, it's more like that. But once I moved my environment and I was amongst more open-minded people who believed more of just anything, you know, and just were more open, that changed me a little bit. And so that like multiplied with my already like stern willpower. And that just like pushed me down this journey that I'm on now. And just a lot of discovering, a lot of reading, a lot of meditation, you know, it's like you and your environment. That's what I tell people. Cause you can't help nobody out of their journey. You know, it's all them. Even if I tell you something and it resonates with you, you took the step to actively apply that knowledge, you know? So it's like, I feel like it's like a lot of the willpower, people got to choose to bring themselves up out of the dark, but then they got to make sure they can choose their environment. Because that's the best way, the environment. Get around people that's high vibey, you know?
Right, because it seems like a lot of the world situation and the way people learn to see it is like, this world fucking sucks. My environment is people might not even see that their environment is oppressing them or making them feel like shit. But even so, whether they're like pointing their fingers and saying everything in the world is messed up, that this therefore I have to feel like hopeless to ever live in a good world and have to feel bad, or they'll just feel bad and not even realize that it's because their environment is oppressing them on some level. But it sounds like for you, and I know you talk about this a lot, is like making a shift to that inner will, like that inner will, or that open-mindedness to create your own reality from within, right? Because you can't really see anything in the world, and I see you talking about this in your Instagram. It all starts inside, right? I want you to like speak a little bit more about like that change that we got to make. It sounds like that you made from like being a victim to your circumstances to being empowered in the way that you want to live, and then manifesting that around you, aligning with that around you, and getting to this place where now you're like, the whole world is like this because I'm choosing to be in this way, and this is my world. And I think that's really like deep, like it can't be stressed enough. Like, so drop some bombs with that.
Yeah, man. That's like the catch-22 about this spiritual shit, because it's like because it's like when you in that space, when you in that mental space of like, bro, this is hell, man, everything is working against me. Is there a God, man? Why would I be in this situation? When you're in that space, the last thing you trying to hear is, it's on you because you feel like that. You know what I mean? Like, this your reality. You choose to feel like that. Like, you're not trying to hear that when you're in that mental state. But it literally all is internal. It's like, I say literally, but I want to put more weight on literally. It's like it's like your mind is projecting this reality, and our senses is making it feel so real and so like
Neil deGrasse Tyson said that reality is just electrical signals in your brain. That's like one of the world's best astrophysicists says that.
Right. Yeah. And so what I like to compare this as, and what I like to say it is like being the gamer and the person, being the avatar and the gamer, right? So just imagine you're playing a PlayStation 4 and you're playing whatever, Mortal Kombat. That character that you choose in Mortal Kombat, that is a small percentage of you. You're controlling that character. And so it's like we're that Mortal Kombat character in this life, but we're also the player. So it's like, if you can tap into the consciousness of, I'm not just the avatar, I'm the player controlling it, then that's when you can really start to tap into the consciousness of that it's all internal. Because then you start to notice how your desires more freely manifest into this world when you start becoming one with your, like, what people call their higher selves or their inner selves. Is really like the same thing I'm making with the analogy. It's like the gamer, the one controlling the game, aligning your avatar's mind with the gamer's mind. And then once you do that, you can really, instead of being victim to your circumstances, you realize there's no way I can be a victim, because this is all my choosing. This is all my fault, like, not fault, but this is all, I take responsibility for all of this. You know what I mean? Everything that I see somewhere is happening on the inside of me. That's the way I look at life. Like, that's the way I look at life. Even when I'm growing through shit and I'm feeling some type of way, I'm looking at life like, no matter what's happening, I chose this. I chose this. I am not a victim. And the thing is, I also say that during affirmations, like, I am not a victim. The world, our society sometimes wants you to have a victim mindset. But with that, when you change your mindset to, I'm not a victim, I'm responsible for all of this, then you start to change how you feel about the things that happen in your reality, you know? And when you can change how you feel about them, that's when you start feeling good and start inputting all of this stuff that you really want to grow through and really wish to see in your reality. And it starts to manifest because you're taking that control, you're taking that power, that, yeah, this, everything that, literally everything that's happening on the outside is the universe is just saying yes. No matter what you're thinking, what you're saying, what you're doing, the universe is like, yes, 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 yes. So I've experienced a lot of different things growing up, but probably one of the most pivotal things I've experienced was houselessness in LA, right? So, disclaimer, this is like privileged houselessness, because I could have went home at any time. I could have went to the East Coast at any time. You know what I mean? And my people's got houses. I got places I can go. So this is kind of like privileged houselessness. But like I said, my will was like, I'm not going back. You know what I mean? I'm here. You know, I'm going to grow through this. And so experiencing houselessness in LA, that's when it really anchored in my mind and in my soul in a deeper level that you create your reality, hands down. Like, because I'm like, this is a choice. Now, it transformed my point of view for the greater good going through that. But I was very conscious at that time, is like, I realized how I feel and what I'm thinking is bringing about my reality. You know, experiencing houselessness, it just really made me think about, what do I want? You know, what can I do? Why do I feel how I feel? And how is this helping my reality, this feeling, this emotion? And when I got out of houselessness, it was the exact same thing. Because I remember the time that I said, no, fuck this. I'm done with this. This is no more. I'm tired of experiencing this. I'm about to get me a place that's this much and this side of town within this amount of time. Boom. As soon as I said that and like put my foot down with myself internally, within 7 days, I was out of that situation. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so that really put into my perspective, like, you manifest your reality. Because now here it is, what, 2 or 3 years after that houselessness experience, and I'm in the manifestation of what I used to envision when I was houseless. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm in all of that. It's like new. I gotta envision a new reality now, because I didn't check everything off the list, and now it's all here, and now I'm happy with it now and stuff. But it's like, that's just how reality works. You think about it, it's here. And I like to take that too, and not just like be selfish with it. Don't just think like, oh, I can manifest this for myself. It's like, okay, so how can we create a reality? How can we co-create a reality that's literally heaven for everybody else? Not just me, because me is good. You know, like if I'm straight, cool. But really, I'm not straight if you're not straight. And if the person down the street is not straight, because all of that collective energy, we can all feel it. So imagine, like, I'm like, how can we use our ability to manifest to create a more harmonious earth, you know? But first, we got to learn how to do it within ourselves. And so that's why I do like to tell a lot of people, this is your reality, you know? Especially like when people who are talking like that, and they're like, this world is, you know, crazy, da, da, da. I'm like, yo, listen, if you see it like that, it's going to be like that, you know, not trying to, your feelings are valid, you know, not trying to shit on your feelings. But if you see it like that, it's going to be like that. It's like if people talking about people, I'm like, hey, you know, don't you know that that's your reflections? Or even myself, if I'm like saying something about somebody, I'll constantly remind, like, these are my reflections. This is somebody that's I'm seeing on my outside reality. For some reason, I'm manifesting this person in this form, in this energy coming at me for some reason.
Right. So it's like shifting the idea. Earlier you were saying it's like playing a game. So it's like shifting the perspective from being played by life to playing life, playing with life, right?
Exactly, playing with life, having fun with life.
Right. And I've heard a quote that's like, you're not responsible for the trauma that conditioned into you as a child, right? Because we come in with like into this world, like we might be pure beings, but then as soon as we come into this world, we take on the frequencies and we take on the belief systems of everything. And in a way, we're kind of victims because we don't have the consciousness to know that we're creating reality. So at the beginning, we were like endued with all this stuff that makes us feel like victims.
Right.
I'm not saying like it's our fault that we get into this shit.
Right.
And it's still like shit happens, but it's our responsibility to heal that. Because it's like if we keep pointing the fingers outside, then we'll never be able to get to a better place in ourselves and exercise our powers as creator beings.
Yeah.
And I like the metaphor that you put of well, I saw this metaphor of like, all right, so as a collective right now, applying this, like we all had a home in the East Coast as a collective. We were in our like system in the East Coast. Everyone's kind of closed-minded, and we were like, as a collective, we're like, fuck this, right? The whole world is in like a revolution right now. There's nature being like, fuck you guys, like I'm gonna drop this pandemic and this and this and this, and in general, our old world is leaving behind, and
it's OV.
We don't want any of this. We don't want any of these systems. But we're out here homeless in the West Coast now as a society, and we're like, where do we turn to? Like, we don't know what to do or how to feel safe, right? Or how to feel like we're really somewhere that we want to be. There's a lot of this deep calling in our hearts to be somewhere beautiful, but there's like, I feel a lot of hopelessness in the collective to manifest that. And there's kind of like, because all we know is the house in the East Coast.
Right.
So then like, how can we apply this? Like, how do you think we can apply this on a global level to like manifesting the world we want to see? Like, what do you think is the most important thing we can do to be creating that world right now?
Meditation and physical action. I'll say this: meditation and getting to know your neighbors. If everybody meditates more and learns a new neighbor's name every couple of days, it'll change. Because I had this thought the other day, like, everybody's like, the system, we got to change the system. Or some people are like, fuck the system. But it started occurring to me, like, there is no system. I mean, there is a system in place, you know, law, order, judicial, communism, democracy, dictatorship. There's systems. But what I mean is there are no physical systems. It's all, the only way these systems get power is by agreements and belief. Everybody agrees that this is the system, so that way it's powerful. So when you're saying we got to change the system, or we gotta eliminate the system, what you're really saying is we gotta change people's mind states, or we gotta eliminate people's mind states. Because the only way the system is alive is because a group of individuals keep it alive. Even if you say you're against it, your thought about it and everybody believing it is there, is still in turn keeping that system alive. So
Right.
changing systems is really just changing mind states. And can we change somebody's mind state? No.
Yep.
You can't change nobody. I mean, you can do things that trigger them into them changing their own mindset, like creating artwork or creating memes or creating videos or having these conversations. But really, what you can do the most is raise your frequency, because universal mathematics is whatever your frequency level is, everything around it got to start to engage to harmonize with it and raise to that level, or it's going to be pushed away like a magnet. And so if everybody starts meditating and raising their frequency, that's going to cause more people to have to raise their frequency, or they will be uncomfortable. It's like when you're having a conversation and it's kind of questioning, it's kind of shaking somebody's reality, and you can see them getting uncomfortable. It's because they're not uncomfortable. They're not comfortable with that frequency yet. That's a different frequency of reality. And so it's like the best
What does
thing
that
you can
mean
do.
to change your frequency? And
Ooh, yeah.
how does that work? How does that change reality?
Change your frequency. Okay. What is a frequency?
Yeah,
It's like this.
let's break it down.
To kind of tie everything together. As above, as within, so without, as above, so below, right? So we talked about our reality being a pure manifestation of what's internal, right? So that kind of touches with the laws of attraction, which is like the laws of manifestation. A quick breakdown of the laws of attraction is you can attract things to you in the physical reality and in the non-physical realities via thoughts and via vibrations. Vibrations, you emit vibrations because you're sound, your frequency. You're nothing but like matter and energy.
Right.
So you emit a certain vibration like a radio. Now, when it comes to manifestation, you have to match these energies, these vibrations of the things you want in order to attract it to you. Now, these energies that you emit is called frequencies. That's how we come into these frequencies now. The frequency is like the sum total of your whole energy, your whole aura. Science calls it your biomagnetic field.
Right.
Spirituality calls it your aura or energy. And so depending on what level of aura you're putting out, it determines the reality you're in, the situations you're in, the things you achieve, the things you attract. So your frequency determines your state of reality.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how is your frequency? How can you determine if you have a high or low frequency? It's like, what are you constantly experiencing? You can determine by your emotions. You know, what emotions are you always in? What emotions is your reality in? Is everybody around you angry? Are you angry all the time? That's a lower frequency. So the things you will attract in the world you live in will be of that vibration. It's not bad. There's no good or bad. There are just frequencies on top. There's some people, we get into spirituality and we like forget the low frequencies. It's like they all got its place, you know. But the thing is, it's like a disease where everybody's trapped in their lower frequency. Not everybody, but a lot of people in the world are trapped in their lower frequency. So all these people are emitting these low frequencies, which then in tune create this lower frequency world that we're in, because everybody's emitting that type of energy and it's manifesting. We're co-creators because we create our reality, but we're also co-creating with each other to create this world reality. So if more of us start to raise our frequency, which is like changing our state of being, our emotion, you know, if we're not always angry or sad or anxious or guilty, and we're like in a more state of peace, joy, these are unconditional love. These are high frequencies. That's why they say like love is the strongest force in the universe, because it's the strongest frequency. It's powerful. It can penetrate through space, time, physicality, all of that. And when you're in a higher frequency, you emit that more. The same energies that we were talking about that you radiate, you emit that higher frequency, and people will become attracted to you. You attract everything like a light attracts moths, and but that will create the world, of that frequency. So if more of us raise our frequencies through meditation, yoga, therapy, journaling, creation,
Right.
um,
Anything that gets you in that state of being inside where you feel like,
mm-hmm,
right, you're saying that the most important priority is to take care of yourself, make
mm-hmm,
sure you're feeling the way you want to feel, make sure
mm-hmm,
you're creating your inner world,
mm-hmm,
right, through meditation, right, going inwards, all these things that are cultivating your own reality,
mm-hmm,
right, and through that you infuse everything around you,
mm-hmm,
everything you speak, everything you move and do, because we're vibrational beings. Everyone you talk to, you create a reality and you manifest a reality that aligns with that, and you
mm-hmm.
say, this is how we bring change to the world. It starts within.
It starts within.
Right.
And your frequency matters, because sometimes you may feel like, or we may feel like, even me just doing this, is this gonna be enough, for the world or whatever? And it's like, oh yes, it's like,
We feel guilty about feeling good, right? We feel
mhm,
like if we're
yeah,
feeling good, then we're not contributing to the world, that we're not changing the world's
right.
problems. We're
No, it's the complete opposite. And I want to touch back on what you were saying earlier about, we were born into this society, right? So off rip, we were put through certain things that traumatized us. All of us got different stories, right? But I've came to believe, as light workers and light beings, that we all are, because I'm sure
what does that mean for you, Lightworker?
light worker,
Yeah.
I mean, spirits and souls that incarnated on earth with the sole intention to bring light, whether via from their own personal soul that could contribute to earth's evolution, or light from some other plane here and incarnated in some way, shape, of a form into a human body, and is now experiencing humanism, but still carrying out that light work mission,
Right.
whether you're conscious of it or not, because you could still be carrying out the light work mission and still be here thinking like a full-blown human being. Like, imagine if like a city got destroyed, right? Imagine if like a state got destroyed in the United States. All workers from all the other states would be going there. You got electricians, plumbers, builders, architects, construction workers, uh, government. Everybody would go there to help that state. That's like where Earth is at right now. There's everybody on the universe is like, oh shit.
Sounds like everyone that cares about people, everyone who has empathy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anyone who is guided by love on some level,
Mm-hmm.
cares about humans is a light worker.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Everybody.
cool. So
But
yes,
some
you were
spirit.
speaking about trauma. I think I
Mhm.
didn't interrupted you.
Oh yeah, yeah. And so I was saying that a lot of us light workers, you know, who may have a very somebody who came here with a very high frequency, like your natural soul energy is very high frequency, like sixth dimension, seventh dimension, eighth dimension, like very high frequency. Sometimes when you come to like a place like Earth, if you don't have experiences that you go through, that you can relate to other people, then your message of love and light might not be fully received. You know what I mean? So sometimes a lot of us have had these traumatic experiences because we need to understand the pain and what it feels like from experience.
Mm,
So sometimes you grow through something, and it's not even for you. Sometimes something may have happened that you may perceive as terrible.
right,
Like, damn, why did this happen? What did I do? I've been doing right. What did I do?
right,
Blah
right,
blah blah. This crazy. This out of nowhere. Why would this happen at this time?
right.
And it's not even because you did anything. It's because in the future you gonna meet somebody who experienced that same type of energy, and you gonna understand because you went through it at a deeper level. It's gonna be a connection, and they gonna sense that. They gonna be able to pick up that you understand because you've been through it. And so whatever message you give to them is gonna be received at a deeper level because y'all went through the same thing, and that creates like an understanding, a certain type of internal understanding. So it's the same way like with light workers who's like incarnated here with Earth. Sometimes we didn't have crazy ass lives. Some light workers that had crazy ass lives just because they had to be in that state of pain or trauma to relate to everybody else on the planet, you know?
And
It's
also
like if
shine light on that darkness, right? To illuminate from that native state a part of
exactly.
Earth that is missing that purity or missing that innocence or missing, missing that consciousness. So we go through it, and through us going through it, we kind of process and transmute it on behalf of the collective
Exactly.
through our awareness.
Exactly. Yep. And we transmuting, like you said, we transmuting. We transmuting a lot of energies right now. We're like lightning rods, just cleaning up energies, literally.
So,
And yeah.
so speaking of like healing trauma and helping one another, right? It sounds like I love the way that you really like prioritize connecting and meeting your neighbor and just like getting to know each other, right? It's like all this illusion of separation that's keeping us forgetting who we are because we're love, right? We are this high vibrational beings that are from in essence on a vibrational level, we're all interconnected, right?
Right.
These bodies. And then we come into this world and we undergo these traumas of people projecting their ideas of separation onto us, and we forget who we are. So I love how it really starts in that heart space for you of just like getting to know each other and connecting.
Yeah.
Especially when there's so much like division. It seems like the world is like feeling very divided, or a lot of people. I personally feel very connected. Like I feel like everything in the world is bringing humanity together. But the question is like, even with especially with like the George Floyd stuff and everything that's happening, how can we like how can we help the cause of bringing more unity, right, and more racial justice? How can we serve Black people's trauma and healing? Like, what is needed as a Black person yourself? I know this is like a touchy subject, but let's get into the real shit. Like, what do Black people, as a Black person, what is your experience? What do you need? What do you see Black people need? And how can people be of service to that cause of bringing that unity and that justice, and healing all that,
Right.
all that darkness?
Yeah. So I'm gonna tell you two points of views because I got two different perspectives of this whole situation because just the way I look at things. I look at things in a way of 3D and physical and separation, and then I look at the higher. I don't want to say higher frequency, the other frequency of more unity consciousness point of view. And so I'm gonna give you my first one. Now, growing up, having experiences as a Black male, yeah, I've experienced, everything that they say in the book, racism, all this stuff. And it's been tougher, and I definitely can see it, and it definitely exists. So what I think on this level, what needs to happen is there does have to be a lot of healing first in the communities. A lot of systematic like racism and stuff has completely crippled the brown people communities and the mindset. So it's making it a lot tougher for the communities to rejuvenate and get back to thriving because of the system. Now, I've seen that. Now, I don't want to take away we each have our own opportunities to make changes and stuff. But as far as on a national level and on a worldly level, I've seen how this has definitely crippled this race of people.
Totally.
And Black people. So what I would say is, honestly, to be real, in this state of time, it just needs to be balancing of the scales, you know, because there are certain races of people with more quote unquote power, which is just money and resources. You know what I mean? And so there needs to be a lot of black people gonna say black people need to get everything back. But I don't think it just needs to go all to one race. I think there needs to be a redistribution of resources and money to where people don't have to struggle. First things first, because there are, like, you know, I've been to so many different cities and hoods and stuff, and there is a systematic shit on these communities. Like, don't nobody care about them, and it's hard for the people. It causes so much trauma inside the community. It causes so much trauma, and so this needs to be alleviated. People need to realize, even people in the spiritual community need to realize that even though there are higher frequencies and we are all one, this shit does need to, the scales need to balance. We need a lot more funds directed towards everything in the community, just everything, the schools, the food. It's normally food deserts in these inner city neighborhoods. They don't got nothing healthy. All these fast food restaurants, hella liquors, stores, all this shit. Like, this shit that's not good for the mind, on top of being pressed financially and worrying about bills every month and not making money because they can't get hired at a good job. And so a lot of resources and a lot of funds needs to go to communities and people of color communities. That's what I think will help at this moment. And I think people are realizing that.
Let's talk about, can you speak more to Black trauma? Because you spoke on that, and what that is from your experience. Like, because I feel like it'd be just helpful in general for us to understand the situation on an interpersonal level.
Yeah.
And what this system has done.
Okay, well, it's kind of, I don't want to say sad, but it's like, I guess it is kind of sad if you think about it. Yeah, to me, it's like, it's normal. So the trauma is like everyday reality. It's a normal part of my thought process. You know, I'm like, okay, walking down the street, you know, this or this or this could happen. I don't really think about that stuff that much. But what I will say is, most Black men and every Black man and Black women move in the world with a different mindset, because there's so many attacks towards us, and you know, it's just so much that could happen. So I will say it's real and the Black trauma exists, but you know, I've been, you know, this is something that your parents teach you when you're a little boy. I've known about this my whole life, so I don't want to say it's not a big deal, because it is a big deal and it has to change, but I want to say I'm used to it. You know what I mean? I'm conditioned to it. So if anything, that should say something. Like, this is not shocking to me. Like, on the media and all of this, where people are getting killed and stuff, and yeah, it's terrible, but to me, it's just like, this shit been happening for generations. This shit literally never stopped. This shit, so like, it's not something brand new that started happening in 2020. Like, this shit
Not
was
like, oh
normal.
my God, for real? It's like,
Yeah, no, this
shit.
is like normal.
Yeah.
This is like normal. It was normal for my dad, my granddad, and his dad. So it's like, I'm glad that most of America is seeing it and most of the world is seeing it, but it is very real, you know. But like I said, I think things need to be on the even playing field. All the races don't need to have no power, money, resources wise over one another. Everybody needs to be thriving. And that means some people can't be super rich, because the only way people are super poor is because people are super rich. So we all got to be at a equivalent level thriving, because we got enough money and resources and stuff in the world to make sure everybody thrives. Mm-hmm. Now, on a deeper state, or on a different thought process, I think it was very designed that way. There are certain beings who I feel very intentionally had the intention of not even just causing this oppression to brown people, but just to Black and brown people, but to humanity in general. I think there was a very clear intention that everybody was manipulated, but now we're kind of being more so manipulated against each other to distract us, like us versus us, like this whole race war stuff or whatever. That's like a fight to distract from somebody who's really manipulating the whole world. So I'm thinking like on a higher scale or a different train of thought, some people, I think what needs to happen is people need to understand that we're all one, and we need to let go of this. I mean, I hesitate to say it because it gets so touchy. We just need to let go of this whole race shit, and like we got too many labels. We got too many labels. We got way too many labels. All the labels are dividing us because in our mind we put ourselves in this category and we say, oh, they're not in this category because they're not this, right? And so, like I said, on one scale, there needs to be a redistribution of like uh, finances and resources to Black and brown communities to at least even the scales economically. But on another level, once we get through all of that, because we can't get to this level without everybody being on equal grounds, you know. So if we get to this equal level, then maybe we can start seeing on a deeper level that we're all one. Like we're literally biologically, our
Right.
bodies are made from the elements and chemicals of the earth. So our body is literally one with the earth. When we die, our body goes straight back to the earth. And then energetically, we're literally stemmed from the same source power energy. So it's like, fuck. There's no difference. There's no separation. Even the dog, even the tree, the squirrel, the flower, that man, your enemy. We're all one. We're all like have this illusion that we're different, but we're literally all one. And that's what I think we need to, because I'm tired of the race shit. Like, this shit is stupid to me. Like, baby, I can't even say it's childish because kids won't even do it. Like, if you put toddlers in a playpen of all races, they gonna play with each other. They not gonna care what they look like. If they got problems, it's like over some toys or something else childish, but the problems won't be about the color of their skin. You know what I mean? And so it's like, this is like this thing that's causing this extreme separation. And I don't want to say I'm not acknowledging like different strands of DNA of people and all of that, because some people could be like, oh, well, are you saying like we're all, I'm not even want to argue all that. I'm just saying like at the base, we're all connected and we're all source. So
And
like we got to start to see that and then be real. I think we just got to keep seeing that and then still being real with the physical things that's happening, you know? We are all one. We all are one, but that don't mean like this community school ain't getting more money ain't getting the same amount of money as that private school, you know. So the education getting taught in this community is, you know, that's still a thing that needs to change, you know. So it's like being real with both realities, the 5D reality and the 3D reality.
thank you for going in on this with me. I want to keep unpacking this a little bit because I think
Yeah.
it's so deep. It's so deep and
Yeah.
it's so important, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how can I have a few questions? I want to know, like, let's just start with what white people or people of different races
Mm-hmm.
can do to be of service to this journey, and also
Mm-hmm.
in general, what can anyone do to be of service to this journey? Like, if you're not in a government position to start like giving the money out
Mm-hmm.
to the communities that are lacking that, like, what can we do on an inner level? Like you said, uh you point a lot to starting within and making the shift within. So what can we do to align with that vibration of a world that is equal and
Mm-hmm.
justice for everyone? Like, what needs to happen for Black people, I guess, from your perspective, how
Mm-hmm.
you've come into that place where you're feeling empowered and you're
Mm-hmm.
feeling hopeful and you're seeing a future where all this is happening, right?
Right.
So what is that shift to heal that trauma and like and
Okay.
to come in, and also what can people that are of a different race, how can they serve that process within themselves of aligning with that unified reality
Mm-hmm.
and manifestation?
Right. Okay. So for a couple of things of like how white people and other people of race can help serve Black people is one, I think one uh there still needs to be like a level of respect. Like a lot of, I don't want to say a lot, but Black people can feel when people of other races are internally looking down on them, you know, or thinking that they're uneducated or thinking that they're stupid or just any type of that energy of that way. When you are talking to somebody of color, we can feel that. So it's like, I think it's more internal. We need to like, I'll take it back to understanding each other. You know, I think it's very okay and very, um, very fine that people grow up in different cultures, but people have to understand other people's cultures, you know? So I think on one major way that white people or um, less melanated people could serve other melanated people is
that how you define it? As you say less melanated, more melanated?
I just don't like the colors, you know? I don't like you know, I don't like the word black and white. I've used less melanin and more melanated people. I've used black and white so everybody understands what I'm talking about.
But it's
And I
not
don't,
real either. It's just
yeah,
I'm like light pink, like pale pink, right?
yeah.
And you're
It's
like brown or something.
brown. Yeah, and I'm like, I'm brown. You know, I remember, just sidestep real quick. I remember when I was little too, and I was talking to my mom, and I was like, who are they talking about? Who are they talking about? Black people. She's like, you're black. And I'm like, but I'm brown. And I'm like, we just had this in preschool the other day. We had the colors, you know, on the board, you know, boom, boom, boom. She's like, no, we're black people. And I'm like, but we're brown. Like we're literally
wow.
brown. We're literally brown. And
It's crazy.
and so, and then just some other things that I've came across that certain people may say, because, you know, if you look up black in the English dictionary, it doesn't really have a great definition. And so
I want to say too, because it makes it so divisive. Black and white are opposites.
opposites.
Instead of like being like, yeah, more melanated, like less melanated, just a little
Yeah,
spectrum right here. It's like
yeah.
black, white, which is not literal. It's a construct of division.
That's that category that I'm talking about. Because then you like, okay, well, I'm in this category. And you're like, oh, and you're in that category. But it's like in the mind. And then you got the subcategories. You got like the Asian, the yellow. They call it Asian, the yellow.
Really, as a
Yeah.
it's all the colors like together connected.
Literally. And so I think like we have to, I think on both ends, we have to heal our trauma and we have to untrain ourselves on certain things. Because there are certain things that sometimes people who aren't black do that they don't even have intentions of doing, but just because they don't know what they're doing may be offensive, they just don't know, you know. And so I think we just really need to understand each other more, try to understand the culture, understand the people, understand where they're coming from, and really like hold space, like really be genuine, you know. We could feel that. And then just support, you know, the business and stuff, and then be patient, like support black businesses and stuff, and then be patient, because a lot of black people are going through crazy trauma, like crazy trauma on the daily. Like a lot of people out here struggling, you know, and so we already got that much to deal with. And then on top of that, like passive aggressive like attitudes and energies, that shit don't help, because we can feel that. That's also pressure. Not to say that all black people are struggling. That's not true. There are a lot of black people thriving, but it's just that the black people that are struggling, it's like when you down, it's hard to get up, because the system and everybody else is like standing on your back, literally. Like it's harder
So
from
how
experience.
can we do that? How can we uplift and help black people thrive?
I think just support black businesses, and then just being patient, being clear, communicative, um, supporting, checking in with people, seeing what they need. Also have your boundaries, you know, and also like you got to heal your own guilt. Don't do nothing out of guilt.
Say more about that. That's big.
Yeah, because I understand, like, I don't understand because I haven't experienced it, but I'm saying I could kind of understand where somebody who's white of color like in this generation would feel with everything that's going on. Because our generation is pretty kumbaya, you know. We're not our parents' generation or the generation before that was like really going hard with the race shit. Our generation is pretty much kumbaya. So I'm sure a lot of white people feel like, well, fuck, I'm not racist, you know. I've been seeing, there are probably a bunch of white people that haven't seen black people growing up. But I know a bunch of white people that's grew up with black people, and we've not had problems and not even grew up with black people, but just white people in our generation. I feel like the races have become more unified than the previous generations. So I could see how some people feel right now, like, you know, it's like a question of your like racism. Are you racist or are you not? You don't want to feel like that because you never really probably have. You probably haven't been your whole life. You've been hella cool with everybody. You just see the world as what it is.
Word.
But then you also understand. You're starting to understand. Oh, black people are in this position because the goddamn system is set up like this, and so you could feel like, fuck, what the fuck can I do? Like, this is terrible.
Right.
And I just don't think it's good to give from a place of feeling guilty about it. Heal the guilt first. Because somebody gave me some money and I appreciated it, but I felt kind of guilt about it. And I kind of felt like you giving me this money isn't going to make you feel better genuinely. You know what I mean? Like, if you're giving me the money because you feel bad, you're just trying to feel better. And you're not going to really feel better till you come to that internal place yourself. Like, you know, you understand that this is the situation, but you can't blame yourself for the situation unless you directly did something. Yes, the situation of the system is still benefiting you, and it got set up literally for you by some of your ancestors, but you didn't do that. Okay, so you're not the one who's had malintentions. So you got to come to that place to be comfortable in that yourself. Because I mean, I'm sure some black people don't care. They just want bread. They don't care if you're guilty or whatever. I wouldn't, you know, I would still accept your money too. But I just think for your internal growth, don't give from a place of guilt. Heal the guilt. Don't come from that energy. Come from a place of building. How can we build? You know, checking in. I think just really just checking in with.
Real quick, what's your
Like,
Venmo?
Venmo, Zach Page 8, ZACH dash PAGE dash 8.
I don't feel guilty about that. I feel excited about that.
Yeah, thank you. And it's just the same. Like, I just think like part of leveling the playing field is just like seeing what you can do. If you got friends that is black and that owns a business or that got some ideas or something, because you know a lot of banks don't don't give a lot of loans to. They make it harder for people of color to get loans and stuff. So I'm like, just start supporting black businesses, and you know, of course, keep your boundaries and stuff. You know, just because some like the way I think with race, I think of it as a more energetic level. You know, you got white and black, yellow, brown, all of this, pink. It's just about the energy behind. You can have a person with negative energy or positive energy behind any color or any body. And so I see it as more of an energetic thing, but I can't deny what I exist in, you know, of course, you know. But I just think one, got to heal each other, start to understand each other, start to understand where we're coming from, start to understand what we mean when we say things. Because it can go the opposite way too. I think certain black people who, you know, only grew up in certain neighborhoods and don't really get to see like certain type of white people, they need to be able to talk to like people who have been in the hood. They need to be able to understand people who grew up in the suburbs too. You know what I mean? They need to understand like not just what the media tell them about them. They need to understand the actual personality and to know that too. It works both ways, you know? Because once we understand each other more, there is no mental division. There is no, oh, I'm this and you're that. We're us. We're family. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And so I think just
that
that, yeah, just in checking in, you know, just check in with people. Check in, see how they feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And then check, you know, check other white people who may not know or may be doing ignorant things, you know, because it's also another part of the problem is like nobody's saying nothing, you know. And like I said, I take this with every race. I just see energy. It don't matter to me. Like, if you white, black, brown, pink, if you doing something that shouldn't be being done, I'm gonna be like, bro, come on now. And I'm not gonna say, oh, because you're this is what you do. No, it's just energy to me. Like,
Yeah, doesn't matter who you are, what you look like. If you're
mm-hmm,
coming from an energy of division,
mm-hmm.
it's yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, bro, quit all that. You know, I see you as fam. I see everybody as fam. You know what really helps though? I see everybody as me. Not like
Boom.
my ego self, not like Sunrise my face. Well, sometimes my face, but not like Sunrise who I am, like this personality. But like I see everybody as me. Even the people who get on my nerves, and sometimes to this day I still talk a little bit of shit. I still see it as like I constantly remind myself that everybody's my reflection.
So
Everybody.
how do we address the people that most trigger us, that we think the most are the wrong, the most divisive, the most fucking up the world through this fucked up system? How do we see them as our reflection, as ourself, and still work from a place of love and unity in that recognition to like manifest this other world? Like, right, how do we dance that dance of like
How do
approaching
we
that,
dance it?
but from that knowledge of self
Mm.
reflection?
So I would say you got to change. It's just like changing your mindset to, oh, I'm not the victim, I'm actually responsible for all of this. It's like a major shift like that. It's like, if this individual being, this particular reflection of myself can trigger me emotionally to where I'm knocked off of balance, that is a warning. That is a sign that I need to deal with something. Why did that thing they said, thing they did, their actions, why did that trigger me to this state? You know? And then usually when I'm emotional, I have to keep reminding myself that they're just my reflection. I literally keep telling myself, like, they're just my reflection. Why did I get triggered? You know, why did I get triggered?
That's so
Because
beautiful,
I
bro.
see it as a point as, if something pops up in your reality and it triggers you emotionally, there's a root to that emotion, right? And so they're actually just trying to help you, you know.
Wow.
Like they you know, you got triggered, you allowed yourself. It's a choice, you know. Even though people do crazy things and you have the right to react, you can choose how you react.
Mm.
So it's like, the fact that you unconsciously just reacted like that based off of something they did, that means that something inside of you has to heal, because otherwise it wouldn't have triggered you like that.
Mm. So it's like seeing it as an invitation. Oh,
To heal.
thank you for showing me where I was still unconscious of this part of me that's not
Mm-hmm.
yet mastered or integrated or conscious. I know you
Right.
talk a lot about self mastery. What does
Mm-hmm.
that word mean to you, like mastery?
Ooh, mastery means to me, um, dedication. When I talk about mastery, I talk about mastery of this life. So when I speak on mastery, I'm meaning doing things to the proficient level of a master in this lifetime. I'm talking about mastering your emotions,
mm-hmm.
mastering the ability to surrender to the now moment,
Mm-hmm.
mastering the ability to exist every single day and know that you have this personality and you are me. I'm Sunrise, or what my government name is Zach Page. So to know that I'm Zach Page in California every day, but to at the same time know that I'm just greater being of light, connected to everything that ever is, and still be in this now moment with having those two perspectives and just existing in perfect harmony. That's what I'm talking about, mastery. I'm talking about having your triggers come to you and you take a deep breath instead of react. That thing that would have pissed you the fuck off that somebody said, they said it to you 2 weeks from now, and they said it, and you just like, all right, you know, you ain't get pissed. That's mastery. You know what I mean? You accepting, you transmuting instantly. I'm talking about that level. And then I'm also talking about being dedicated to whatever task till you're a master at that task.
Mm-hmm. Damn, bro. Woo! Yes, I felt that, bro. Thank you.
Oh man, I gotta give thanks to the spirit guides, you know, because a lot of the time when I'm just talking, I find, and then the thing is, it ain't nothing special. It's something we all are and something we all tap into all the time.
Woo.
This the lack of resistance. The less resistance you have, the more flow you have. So a lot of the times when I'm talking, a lot of times I'm watching. I'm like, oh shit, where did that come from? Right. That's exactly, we could tie, it's the controller, it's the player. The player like, and he typing, and I'm just speaking it out. I'm not thinking, I'm not trying to interrupt. I'm just letting it flow.
So
the
what's
friction comes in when the ego is like, wait, let me say this, you know?
So what's the future of humanity if we all realize who we really are as masters, as avatars? Like what the fuck? Where are we going, bro? Like,
okay, this is what I see. Because this is my plans for planet Earth. This is my vision.
Let's get into it. We're manifesting right now. We're creating.
We're manifesting right now. I'm seeing us like, bro, cleaner technology. Like, you know, the wireless technology we got right now, that's cool and all. But it's like, it leaves like a debris or pollution, like energy pollution, like Wi-Fi and 5G. It's like dirty technology energy. We need like cleaner energy, you know?
By the way, I want to say that it's been proven by scientists and doctors that EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies from technology, really does affect human biology. This is not this bullshit. So just for anyone that's like, y'all are fucking hippies. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, I know that's what people be saying. I'll be like, nah, bro, this fact, bro. All you gotta do is just read it. Look at it. Look at the case number. No, but no, for real. So this electromagnetic frequency, that's how you gotta say it too, to make people think you seriously. You gotta be like the gigawatts, 20 gigawatts of hertz. You know what I mean? You gotta say the scientific name. But
all right, so cleaner
is like cleaner tech energy. I'm seeing like us remodeling some type of crystal energy. We could still have all the wireless shit, but it don't have no negative effects. You know, technology is doing more a service to humanity, like in a sense of like we're using it to educate ourselves. We're using it to connect more with each other, like we are. As far as the world and the systems, like I said, people ain't hungry. People got houses if they want houses. You know, everybody got a house if they want a house, a shelter. Some people who want to sleep outside, they just want to sleep outside. That's cool. Everybody got shelter. Everybody's in harmony. And we're all operating on at least a bare minimum higher fourth dimensional consciousness. More so like a fifth dimensional consciousness, but higher 4D. We all know the unity consciousness is real. We all know that we are one, but we still got our individual personalities, but we all know that we're one. So with that knowing, if everybody truly believes and knows we're all one, that'll end all violence. It'll end all violence. Like even when I got problems with people, and it's sometimes like back in the day, I'm like, back in the day, I would have been ready to fight you right now. Now, even if that thought comes to my head, I'm like, that's just your reflection. You just trying to fight yourself. Like, what's the problem? Why would you fight yourself? That's just your reflection. You hurting him is hurting you. And so like everybody having that unity consciousness, I see it happening. We all gonna have that unity consciousness.
So people seeing that oneness is like bypassing the real shit. That like if you're seeing that everything is just one, then you're ignoring the division in the world, right? Mm-hmm. So how do you balance that? How do you bring in that unity consciousness into everything you do today? Because what I like about you is I know that when you say that you see these things in the future, you know it's coming. Like you have no doubt. You're not trying to fight reality, trying to fight everything that's here. You're like, it's all good. We're getting. This is the process. We're right on track.
We're right on track. I think just acknowledgement. Acknowledgement is it's as simple as acknowledgement. I think people don't want to feel like their problems or their experiences are being invalidated or being bypassed, right? So with me, I know that it could probably be a different story with me saying, you know, we manifested this on our own. You know, we gotta get our own way out of it. Then if you said that to like, it'd be a different thing.
Right.
But
let me just add one thing there. I want to say that because people can get tripped up when we say like, why the fuck will we manifest this? Like you're trying to blame the victims. I want to bring it back to that unified perspective. If you know that we're all one thing, that we're all consciousness, it's not that you did something wrong as a person in this way of seeing things and you created this by yourself. That on some level, you are everything and everyone. So on some level, as the creator, as the player of the game,
exactly.
But it's not putting the fault on one personality. Yeah. It's saying like, hey, we all created this together and I am we.
Right, exactly. That's the real science of how this is going to get understood through people. That's what you said. The understanding of, I'm not talking about you, like you right here, right now, but we're all one, right? So I am you and you are I. And one of us set this up for us. You know what I mean? We, us. And so it's like you said, being the player and the avatar. You are the player. So, you know, you
gotta work together.
Player set that up. And like you said, we gotta work together. I like that. We gotta work together.
So I want to hear more about how you see us working together before we wrap this up. Because I know you started on that note. You said like you see connection as the pathway, right? So what kind of collaboration, what kind of getting together, integration, community, like let those visions ripple out. Let people hear that, see that.
I think it's already happening. I think a major thing is conversations like this. Podcasts. I see a lot of podcasts popping up. I think a lot more podcasts are going to pop up. I think a lot more radio shows, a lot more talk shows, a lot more people using their social media to use their voice. So I see a lot of technology being used to communicate with people, whether it be one-on-one like how we're doing, or whether it be live or recorded so other people can watch it later. I see a lot of communication, literal communication. Like I feel like this is the brick by brick that'll build the walls. The communication will increase tenfold. And then as time goes on, we'll understand each other. Because what we need to do is understand each other. Because when we understand each other at a different, deeper level, that creates a different type of connection. You know, it creates a different connection. And internally, you will really feel more connected and more one with other people who you understand. So misunderstandings leads to the perception of a misconnection, you know? And so I feel like when things open back up, there's going to be a lot more festivals. You know, festivals are getting more popular each year, and those things are fantastic. There's a shit ton of talking then, you know, a shit ton of community. Like, it's going to be like a festival, but more society-wise and, like, more cleaned up, you know? Festivals is like, it's like we travel, it's like we pack our bags from our worlds and we go into this, like, utopia society where it is that. It is literally that. At a festival, the only things I've seen that's happened with friction at a festival is if like people having a bad trip and they like tripping out or something. But like as far as like community wise, people are flowing in harmony. You would have thought they was all kin. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I think it's gonna be like that, like festival, but on a society level, like people being nice, like how they be at festivals.
Yeah, that's a beautiful key point right there because I go to festivals too. Like we were both at Beloved Festival. I saw you on stage. I didn't even know you were on stage until now. But those festivals actually were like probably the biggest thing that changed my life. Because there I got to enter a utopia, a portal, a bubble where everyone's coming in with the consciousness of fuck that world. I'm about to go into this place where I'm trying to celebrate everything. I'm trying to create everything. It's like a co-creatorship. It's what happens when we create together and we see each other as family because we're celebrating, we're enjoying, and we're creating from that place. And you can see that literally anything is happening.
Right.
Anything can happen when you're in that place of working together, like joy, love, all that high frequency shit beyond what you ever knew was possible. So I love
Yeah,
that.
and you feel the energy in the festivals. You feel how pure the energy feels. It feels like you can feel all that love. You literally can feel it. Like,
Yes.
yeah, yes. But that's how I see it, man. I see it being gravy, being great, eating clean, eating organic, um, drinking good water, no more chemtrails. We gotta arrest the chemtrail people. Who is signing off on those big? That's a crime against humanity. You cannot pollute the air like that. So I see clean air, uh, low GMOs, like low to no GMOs, um, therapy, a lot of therapy, a lot of healing centers. Uh, People gonna be transmuting their energies like babies. You know, babies do it the right way. Even though it may be a little outlandish, you know, when a baby throws like a temper tantrum or cries or something, they let that emotion out. They don't hold on to it. It comes up and they transmute it.
Right.
They let it be, and then they let it go. And then they go on their reality. We need to transmute like that.
Right. And the
Yeah,
thing about
have it.
it too is they're so innocent, they don't even have the capacity to project that and like create in the world from that. They're just
Mm-hmm,
they're just like expressing, and then
mm-hmm.
they don't even need to bottle it up and then try to figure out in the world how to project that unconsciously.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. So yeah, I see a whole bunch of healing, you know,
Cool.
and
So
thriving.
speaking of healing and thriving, just to top it off, kind of I know you do this thing called trap chi. So
Hmm.
tell me more about just like the what that is and like the from what I understand, it's like a kind of tai chi a little bit, and
Yeah. Okay. So
the
track
importance of
is
the body in mastery, the importance of like being in the vessel,
hmm hmm
that inner dimension of the future, and like that.
hmm
Yeah.
So trap chi is definitely rooted from Tai Chi. If you're familiar with Tai Chi, which is like a movement meditation, you know, as what I like to call a yin form of martial art. Tai Chi is like basically um, calming your mind and body and unifying them through movements, certain slow movements and postures, you know. And so it's definitely a moving meditation exercise. And then Trap Chi is a little bit different, you know. It's essentially Tai Chi, but to different music, different cadence, a different breath rhythm. Um, it's something that I cultivated once I learned Tai Chi, because I was like, oh, Tai Chi is amazing. So I kind of altered it a little bit and made Trap Chi. So essentially, it's Chi is another word for energy, life force. Some people call it prana,
Mhm.
uh, aura, the breath. Chi is like what we are.
Right.
Mainly, I think in the West we would say energy. You know, energy.
Consciousness, spirit, God, love,
Exactly,
light.
exactly. There's so many names for it, um, but that is what chi is. And so the intent of trap chi is to cultivate your perception of your inner chi and your external chi. So I'll say that again: it's to cultivate your perception of your inner chi and your external chi, to
And
strengthen your sight of
energy. Yeah.
strengthen your sight of what you feel, um, your inner sight of what you can feel energetic wise, like literally feeling the energy, um, internally and externally, like on some Dragon Ball Z shit, like literally feeling the chi, like
Yep.
chi balls, energy, feeling chi around you, feeling the chi internally. So trap chi is an exercise that helps harmonize and unify the body, mind, soul, and build strength on that internal perception of that chi. And you'll through trap chi, you can really start to understand how you are the chi, right? It's like learning on a deeper level that we are all one, you know, because you're feeling this chi, and then you're realizing this is the same chi, this internal chi and this external chi that you're feeling, it's the same thing.
Right. Right. The breath and the trees and everything, the earth, all that energy, the sun, it's all one.
Mm-hmm. And
Beautiful.
it's like learning how to surf through that energy and around that energy. It's like being in the ocean and learning how to surf. That's what trap chi is.
Mm. So where can people find you? Like, how can people be a part of the what are you up to? Where can people find you?
Okay, so currently I'm doing everyday trap cheat classes on Zoom at 4 p.m. You can follow me on Instagram at Sunrise the Divine, and I have links to my trap chi page. My trap chi page is also called Real Trap Chi on Instagram, RealTrapChi, Real Trap Chi.
I'll put that in the
And
description.
thank you.
Yeah.
And so currently I do everyday Zoom classes. Since quarantine, I've been doing Zoom classes every day at 4 p.m. And I think now they're opening things are opened up more. So I'm gonna start doing outdoor classes. I was doing outdoor classes last year and stuff. So I'm gonna do more outdoor classes throughout the summer before the summer ends. But as of now, we hit Trap Chi every day at 4 p.m. on Zoom. That's why I said 5:55, because at 4:44 I was gonna be in Trap Chi.
Beautiful. I would love to be a part of that. I'll have to hop on
I'll
sometime.
shoot you a link. Actually, I got your number. I'll shoot you a link.
Cool. Yeah. So last final words of wisdom. Just like how can people make that shift to like being as hopeful and optimistic about the world as you are, and how can people start to be empowered to change their reality if they're like they don't even know, they never
Word.
heard about the spiritual stuff before and it seems like too
Mhm.
out of the box? Like, what do you do to take care of yourself and remind yourself that, and just advice on that?
The first thing, what I'll say, closing remarks for everybody to give hope and to feel empowered and inspired throughout their whole journey. The words that came to my head is unconditional love now. Unconditional love now.
Thank you, brother.
So like unconditional love, like even people in the spirit community, we say that, but like unconditional love means no conditions. Like nothing that person can do
What about
to
Trump?
take away their love. Yeah, man,
What about
unconditional
this?
love. It's the
What about that?
reflection. Yep, unconditional love. At a certain level in your heart, you got to have a certain level of love for that other energy. Not saying you got to kiss ass or nothing, but just have unconditional love now. That'll help you throughout this whole journey. The unconditional, and then now, like not tomorrow or yesterday, like now, like
So
in the now.
I'm sure some people are thinking like, why would I unconditionally love that thing in the world? Like,
Yeah,
what's the point?
because once you you got to keep reminding yourself that you're everything, because you're not essentially not loving anything else other than you. You not liking that thing is not liking you, whether you believe it or not. So me having something against you is having something against me. And of course there are levels to it. Of course we know there are, like, you have your day-to-day stuff with people. I know I'm not trying to act like that stuff doesn't exist, but I'm just saying, like, you also have to hold that consciousness of, yes, at a certain level we are all one, and I still love this, whatever. I love this situation, this moment, this person, this reality, this place, this job,
Right,
came here for a reason.
right.
You
Love,
made it happen.
loving the shadows too. Loving
Hmm.
everything.
Love in the darkness, no pressure, no diamond. You know what I mean?
Mm, mm,
No pressure, no diamond.
mm,
That's what my homie Giff always say.
mm, mm. Can you just
But
share one
yeah,
example of
unconditional love now.
can you just share one example of how like you've experienced love transform things that you once saw was dark, and you just embrace that and love that, and what that does, like the power of that?
Only my own perception. Like, I've seen unconditional love change my perception of things a lot. That's mainly the main way. It's just changing how, because the way you look at things is your reality. So if you can change the way you look at things that may trigger you in certain ways, and you just bypass that emotion and put love there. I don't want to say bypass that emotion. If you can grow through that emotion and still have unconditional love, it'll really change your perception, and that right there will change your world, because your perception is your world.
So what are you seeing for your life before you get on? What are you most excited about manifesting and like
Mm.
expanding and being a part of growing?
Honestly, I felt like I've lived. Honestly, I felt like I've manifested everything I really truly desire. I'm just here to make a better world for people now. I done did my thing. I mean, of course, I still got goals, and I'm still growing with everything, business, music, everything. I got goals, but as far as like experiences, man, I've had an amazing life, and it's continued to grow even better. And so now I just wish for everybody to allow themselves to live in that frequency. So I'm gonna do as much as I can to inspire that and inspire and keep pushing that message out.
Oh yeah, that's real shit right there,
Yeah.
bro.
So growing every day.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you, family.
Yeah, that was amazing. I appreciate you going everywhere with me.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate you touching those touchy subjects with me and just like bringing in such a powerful reminder and inspiration. Like, like I said, bro, you know this. I believe in you so big. Like, I think your
Yeah.
message is needed, and it's an honor to be a space to hold that and to broadcast more of that. Because, like you said, all of us matter. So
Mm-hmm.
I just really appreciate your contribution to the earth, man,
Yeah.
to the conversation. It's very unique, and I deeply honor and see the it's a very unique and challenging thing to bring in such a different frequency and
Yeah.
truth than everything around you. So I
Yeah.
just want to honor and acknowledge you for holding steadfast to your truth and to your love in a world that is always trying to
Mm.
preach the opposite.
Man, I thank you and I accept that and I appreciate that. And I just want to say that's all reflected. You know, we mirrors straight up. What you see in me is what you see in yourself. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Blessings,
We
reflection.
growing.
Yeah.
And then I get excited each time I talk to people who are on this same thought process. I get more excited because I keep talking to more people. I'm like, bro, the world is changing, bro. More and more people are having this mindset. Like,
Yeah.
it is changing.
Yeah.
It's happening. It
Yeah.
may not be at my speed that I desire, but it's definitely happening fast.
I just want to say, like, on that subject, since I started waking up, it's been like to this shift in perspective. I came from a dark ass hole and had to
Mm-hmm.
do the whole journey. And since that happened, I felt absolutely alone. I was like, and things have radically shifted. Like
Mm-hmm.
things are changing beyond what I could even comprehend. Like I didn't even know. I thought I was going to be all alone on this journey.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen like this shit is happening miraculously. Like
Mm-hmm.
awakening is our vibration, the vibration that people that are awakening, that
Mm-hmm.
vibration to something harmonious with life, so much
Mm-hmm.
more powerful than all the people that are out of alignment with life, because
Right.
that's life moves through us, the one moves through us, and that
Mm-hmm.
has ripples effects. So I just
It
want to
is.
speak to the fact that we've probably seen so much, like we're optimistic for a reason.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Cause we manifesting it. We manifesting that optimism. We the light rise. We like this. Right here. This is like all of us on earth.
That's
Eventually the
crazy.
whole thing gonna be lit up. Is us. And the thing is, the more of us that light up, the more of us that's gonna keep lighting up. You know, that momentum is building.
All right, sunshine, sunrise, the divine.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for your light, brother.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's connect. I'm gonna send you the link to the Zoom class. Okay.
Yeah, we're co-creating. It's just
Yes.
the beginning.